Welcome to Women of the Word for April. This month we are looking at Mary Magdalene from John 20. But first, let us look at some context. Mary Magdalene is mentioned in all four Gospels. She is a follower of Jesus, thought to be from a town called Magdala, hence the surname. In Luke 8, it says that Mary Magdalene was one of several women who accompanied Jesus and his disciples. She had been healed of 7 demons, which made her a grateful and devoted follower of Jesus. These women also provided for the disciples out of their means. All four Gospels say that Mary Magdalene was at the crucifixion and that she went to the tomb on the first day of the week. There are many things that have been written about Mary Magdalene. Some are not from the Bible or appear to have confused different biblical events and people. Other things are completely untrue and have been used to try to discredit Christianity. So be aware and careful of the sources of information that you read about Mary Magdalene. The immediate context of John 20 is John 19. And John 19 describes the crucifixion and burial of Jesus. In verse 31, it says the day was a preparation day before a high Sabbath, which is not necessarily a Saturday. This would have been the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which according to Leviticus 23 occurs on the day after Passover, and the first day of that feast is considered a Sabbath. In verse 38 of John 19, Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus ask Pilate for the body of Jesus. They had brought linen and spices to bury the body. This had to be done before Sabbath started at sundown, so it was possibly a rushed process and not done with the care and attention that they may have wished. This would also have made them possibly unclean because they would have touched a dead body, and that would have made them unclean for a week, possibly meaning they would miss this feast, but it is a sign of their commitment to Jesus. And Jesus was buried in a nearby tomb in a garden. Anointing a body with spices was done to honour the dead. Spices were expensive. Spices would also cover the smell of the decomposition of the body. And in this case, spices used were myrrh and aloes. Myrrh was one of the gifts from the wise men to Jesus in Matthew 2. Now, the other Gospels say that on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and other women took spices to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body. So this may have been to complete the work that had already been done, or to add their own touches, which would they have done as a sign of their devotion to Jesus. One question that is sometimes asked is, why did Jesus appear to a woman first? In first century Judaism, the testimony of a woman was not accepted. So Jesus' appearance to a woman and then telling her to tell the brethren about his resurrection does indeed validate and affirm the witness of women. But Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene is to show her the reversal of the fall in Genesis 3. In Genesis 3, the setting is the Garden of Eden. The serpent deceives the woman, and she eats of the fruit of the tree of which God said they must not eat. But it's only when she gives the fruit to the man, the first Adam, that sin enters the world, which we know as the fall. Sin, death, evil came into the world, and as a consequence, mankind was separated from God. In John 20, the setting is another garden. Another woman is there, this time with the second Adam. In 2 Corinthians 5:21, it says that Jesus, who knew no sin, became sin for us, but he was not a sinner. Romans 6:23 says that the wages of sin is death, and in his death Jesus took the punishment for our sin and for the sin of all mankind. But because Jesus did not sin in his earthly life, he could not stay dead. And so he was resurrected with a new resurrection body, something that had not been seen before and may have subtly changed his appearance. The resurrection confirms the sinlessness of Jesus. Jesus appears to a woman first to confirm that he has broken the power of sin and death from the fall, which was initiated by a woman. And in particular to Mary Magdalene, because she was a woman who had known the power of sin, as she had been healed of 7 demons. So Genesis 3 describes the pain, slavery to sin, and alienation from God's presence. John 20 reveals healing and deliverance, because Jesus' resurrection means the full restoration of fellowship with God. Let us keep that in mind as we look at this passage.